I, Tantus Naravan Dracovin, Lord and Emperor of the Dracovin Empire, and welcome. It is time to continue our discussion on Earthdawn. We were talking about true patterns and some of the basics of the magical world and understanding it. I want to talk a little bit more about that and then start talking about astral space, which is actually also very important to the entire magical world and magic within Earthdawn. Let's talk about threads. Now, there are these kind of strands of magic that exist kind of weaving throughout the world called threads. One could use these threads and kind of put them together in order to create their own kind of magical pattern, or you can weave them into an existing pattern in order to strengthen and enhance it. Manipulating threads are oftentimes required for more complex spells to sort of add it into these spells. Another major use is if you want to attune yourself to a magic item in order to use it, you will need threads in order to do this. Of course, you will need the pattern knowledge of the magic item itself in order for this to actually work, but when you do have that knowledge, you're able to weave threads in and therefore use the magic item. Otherwise, it would be inactive. Both of these two things are what make up what is known as a type of magic called thread magic, where you're manipulating threads to use these various things. Now, every discipline has some kind of talents which talk about manipulating threads to them, so there is options in any discipline you take to manipulate threads. You have to think about it this way. Talents will add to your true pattern or a true pattern. You can weave threads as you enhance a talent into it in order to strengthen it, and that therefore will strengthen your true pattern overall. So it's all interconnected. Let's move on though, and let's talk about astral space. Astral space is this limitless realm that coexists with the physical world, and it is in fact both interconnected and independent of the physical world. So there's this connection between them that exists. So they both are separate worlds, yet connected at all times. You can find that when you're within the astral space, anything that you would see that would be in the physical world has a glow to it, especially life, living creatures, also magical auras will have a glow to it. The astral plane mirrors the world in many ways, yet it has its own laws of reality and laws of what goes on, so there's very much speculation about what goes on with it. It also acts as a sort of gateway between the physical world and the deeper nether worlds or the elemental planes, if you wish to enter into any of those. It also functions as this sort of like connection between them, allowing magical energy from flowing from those planes through the astral plane into the physical world. Someone traditionally that has the ability to use magic will use astral perception to look into the astral space and manipulate the magical energies there for use of their self. Traditionally, though, you have a level of this with any talent you may take, a level of perception that allows you to manipulate the magic. It might not be as strong as some of the other abilities to pierce it with your perception, but as I said, each talent seems to have a little hint of that. Astral space itself is this kind of vast area with no sky, ground, or anything else. When you find something that is within it, it is traditionally going to be a reflection of something that you're going to find in the real world. So you find that the physical world gives these reflections to astral space, but there are large portions of it that are just vast and empty and endless. So any place that you might find in astral space will traditionally reflect somewhere in the physical world, and it is a mirror, to say the least. The astral space is a mirror, but this means that it reflects everything, and this includes when the 400 years of the Scourge, when the horrors came. Their effects that they did to the physical world also reflected in the astral world, and you will find a lot of that still in effect, these kind of scars left over from the Scourge that have existed there, and you can find these scars when you would be journeying through the astral plane. Now, occasionally you might find something that is not reflected from the physical world, and that is more oftentimes reflected by deeper planes such as the netherworlds. It is a reflection of something on the other end of the spectrum that occurs randomly and rarely, though again, you can sort of form as a gateway between those areas, so of course you're going to have some kind of reflection there. Now, whenever you are viewing or even traveling into the astral plane, you will kind of see imprints of everything in the world. Everything in the world is imprinted upon the astral plane. You can find anything from the physical world there. You will also see things that exist in both worlds, spirits and horrors. You can see them, and the astral energies and magical energies that flow around you. Traditionally, those magical energies do very little to interfere with you as you travel, as you see these wisps of energy traveling around you. The exception can be one area that's been tainted by horrors. Of course, you would see that corruption. Now, you can see some other things. You can observe magical energies. When someone would cast a spell, whether it would be their physical mirror or you in the astral plane attempting to cast a spell, you will see those magical energies be manipulated by the caster and swirling around them. If you should enter into an area that does have corruption, it will have a variety of effects on it. It could be absorb your vision or your perception. It could damage you. It could mess around with your magical capabilities. So corruption is a very dangerous area to enter into, the taint that horrors leave behind. Now, traditionally, whichever realm you were born into is where you are perceiving into. Those of magical abilities on either side could traditionally pierce into the other veil, and you could travel to the other side and change forms. If I would enter into the astral plane from the physical one, I would get a astral form. If astral form would enter into the physical world, they would get a physical body. That would be a reflection of whatever body they would have. There are some exceptions, dual-natured creatures such as horrors. Dual-natured creatures have a major advantage that they exist in both planes at the exact same time simultaneously. The thing is, both sides could be doing different actions at the same time, but they're intrinsically connected. So there could be actions that the astral form of a horror would be doing at the same time as the physical form of a horror. The other thing is they're very difficult to kill. If one side should be destroyed, if either the astral side or the physical side should be killed off, then the other has a chance of effectively regenerating and regrowing the other side if it gets away alive. So I might kill off the physical form of a horror, astrally it will escape and regrow its body in the physical world. Or they could be the exact opposite. If I kill its astral form, its physical form could still possibly escape and regenerate its astral form. The thing is, it's very rare that name givers should actually enter into the astral space rather than just perceiving into it. So it is very rare that a name giver should get an astral form when entering into there. It does occur, but it is an unusual thing. And the same is often said of the opposite of, except for things like spirits, which perhaps you will manifest into the world. Then that is a little different and works a little different. I will talk about them later on. So that's it for today. I went over threads and talked a little bit more of the basic understanding of magic, and I moved into talking about astral space. Understanding what it's like in astral space, what it reflects, what its purpose is, and talking about possibly astral perceiving or going there physically, projecting yourself into the astral realm. And then talking about things like horrors, which are dual-natured and have a major effect upon the astral plane with their very corruption, their very taint. In the next episode, I'm going to talk about some more things to do with astral space, astral imprints, and astral sensing, as we move deeper into talking about the magic that exists within Earthdawn. So if you have any questions, comments, anything you want to say, anything you think I left out, please leave in the comments below. Please like, share, and subscribe to support the channel, the Empire, and the work I do. If you want to show some more support, you can check out my Patreon, link in the description below. But regardless, until the next time, I bid you farewell.